Good afternoon, and thank you for coming to listen. I'm Mick Brennan. I'm one of the directors of Educate Manchester. This is Peter Hayes, my fellow director. I think we met most of you when we were down there chatting at pitch side all cold. And if we'd have thought about it, because we watched through this window here, it was a little bit warmer in here. Just before I start the presentation, I'm not going to go on for ages. I'm going to give a brief outline of what our thoughts and our plans are from September onwards here and what we do with the football side of things. But just to give you a little bit of background, our Educate Manchester Academy, linked with our English language school in the centre of Manchester, has been running now for 11 years. To the 11th season, and we have students from all over the world who come to that, and they stay with us. We house them in host families, we educate them in the centre of Manchester, and we do the coaching like we've seen out there on a daily basis. We started that based at Blackburn Rovers, a football club, and my background is the football side of things. So I was at Blackburn Rovers for 13 years with the community development side of things and developing community coaches that went out into the schools and working on the academy down there. So that's sort of my background in the football, and we're trying to translate all that with the education side from Pete's side into the programmes that we do. The step now that we're looking at taking, as Nick was saying, linking in here with Ellesmere College, to have the education excellence, everything on one side, the facilities and the football, and bringing it all together here on one side. And we're really excited about this opportunity. I'll try and keep thinking loud so I'm above the basketball and that. So just to go through, so we're starting in September here. From our side of things, we're looking at hopefully bringing some players from around the world. The players that you saw out there in the red, they were from all over the world. So that's what we're looking at doing. It's some quality players that we get, but they'll be taking the normal school lessons here, the GCSEs or BTEC or A-levels or the International Baccalaureate in the school with everybody else. And then getting the training opportunities with us as well. As Nick said, we're giving the school here the opportunity to join in that programme first, so you can be part of the experience, and it'll be the academy lifestyle. So we will be instilling that academy lifestyle and the football lifestyle into any of the players that we get on there. And as we go through, and I'll chat about them as we go, hoping to give them plenty of opportunities to expose their ability in football, but also to look at different careers in the football market, or if it's just for them to engage in football and develop and become better, we'll be looking at that. So we'll be looking at all the aspects as we go through. Now, one of the major reasons why we believe that this will work really well here with the school, and why we met up with Nick and everybody at the school with regards to this, is our ethos is along the similar lines here to the school. So whilst we'll be pushing the players, and we'll be trying to instill a winning mentality in them, and understanding when they lose, how to lose and how to lose gracefully, we are still making sure that they are putting their education first. And I'll touch on the timetable a little bit later on. But very similar to, as I'm assuming that you do here and when we've spoken about, they've got to make sure that they're working hard in class, that the academic side of things is working. The coaches will understand that as well, so that they can perform in there in the academy. That's the ethos. We'll be looking at developing them as a player, as an all-round player, on the pitch and off the pitch. So how to respect the coaches, how to respect referees, teachers, and everybody in and around the game. Okay, so that's our ethos, that's in there. And we'll be trying to instill English football culture and making them to understand the culture. And we do that because when we get our international students coming over, it's a massive shock for them, English football, the speed of the game, and what to expect and things. So the coaches are very good at trying to instill that and teaching them the whole culture of English football. So we feel that our ethos lines up very well with the school's ethos, with all the other academies that they have here. So what's included, there'll be regular football coaching, which I'll touch on in a second. There'll be lots of opportunities. I've put up there opportunities to attend the UK football trials. That's one of the opportunities. that I'll touch on in a second to expose their ability. The feedback and reports are very key. We give very honest feedback with the players to try and help them develop, and we'll provide assistance within their football career, whatever path that may be. So with football coaching, we're looking at 12 to 13 hours of contact time per week, depending on what that week is. Part of that will be some one-on-ones, so there'll be opportunities for the players to meet with coaches on a one-on-one. Opportunities for them to discuss their playing and their progression with the coaches. You've seen the coaches out there, so we use qualified coaches and what we feel are quality coaches. You saw two different sides of the coaching out there. So you saw the expertise of John with his background in professional football and instilling what he's learned over his career. And then you saw the enthusiasm of Nigel, who's our head coach in Manchester, how he can get the players going and he can instil that into the players. And they'll be working on all aspects of the games. We'll be looking at including them in competitive fixtures. Now, as I was talking to some of the parents out there about the competitive fixtures, there will be a mixture of the college fixtures here, representing the school, and specifically in the term where they are playing the college fixtures, making sure that they can represent the school. But we'll also be arranging fixtures, ability dependent, with schools, with colleges, with academies, and that will all be worked out depending on the ability and the range of players that we've got, because we don't want to set them off on a path where we might be getting beat by academies, but similarly we don't want to be setting them off on a path where we're just winning against lots of other schools and that. We need to make sure we get the level right so that we are challenging them and they're getting success in that. There'll be a fitness and strength and conditioning program that they will get, that they'll work on as a team, and they can work on it with the facilities here when they're out of session. And they'll be looking at rotation of positions. When the coaches, or when, in our experience, when we've got players in, you get them coming into and say, well, I'm a striker, or I'm a midfielder, or this is where I play. Well, the coaches like to try and move them around, see what positions they have. We've had several examples of where we've had players that have come in and said, I'm a striker, and they've ended up as the centre half. So the coaches work well at trying to find their best position from the sessions that they do. Now, but you might not be able to see that. I think Nick's going to circulate this and you have an opportunity. This is a sample timetable that we've worked out. And the reason I put that in there is to just demonstrate that coaching is going to take place around the current timetables that are set. So it's not going to take any place of any lessons. It's not going to be detrimental to their education. As we say, we can make sure we're going to work closely with the teachers and with the school to make sure that they are up to scratch with their education side of things. So it's going to take place after that sort of 4 o'clock slot, except on Wednesdays when it's the game side of things, and there might be things there on the Saturday. That's still to be absolutely finalised. We're going to work with the school on the timetable and the PE department, but it's just a sample timetable just to demonstrate that. Now, the UK football trials that I touched on, there's going to be opportunities for them to go on the UK football trials, and hopefully we're going to try and link in with them to come down here and bring some of their scouts down here. The UK football trials is one of the biggest trials companies across the country. We go twice a year with the guys that you saw out there in the red, and they can showcase their ability across lots of different clubs. There was 15 different clubs represented there when we went in October, and they also have a national scouting agency that attends all the trials. We will prepare anybody who wants to go on them trials. We'll make sure we prepare them. We can talk to them about what to expect and what the coaches there on the UK football trials expect. And we've got a good relationship with UK football trials where they'll come in and they'll talk to our players before they go on the trials and that. We've got a lot of the videos that we can show the players so they can see exactly what happens. So that's one of the opportunities that hopefully we can give the boys as they go through. On the feedback side of things, again, hopefully you could see out there the way that the coaches were dealing with the players. They can have an open dialogue with the coaches, and they'll give them honest feedback. We won't be telling them that they're Ronaldo if they're not. Similarly, if we feel that we can progress them onto a football club to play, we will try and find them their level. Okay, so we will give them honest feedback. We'll give them regular reports for you and for the players and for the parents that will come out, and that is an opportunity for you to look at the progress and get some feedback from the coaches direct. They'll talk about different areas that they can improve the game, and they can do that in the one-on-ones. They'll do that in the 6 weekly reports that are up there. Okay, and they'll look at achievable targets as they go through. With regards to the progression in football, we'll try and help them to put together a player CV. It's constantly changing what clubs at all different levels are wanting. Some are wanting videos, some are wanting letters in, some only get a recommendation from scout, some will only ask for a recommendation from your coach, some will only send their own scouts out and be scouted. It's constantly changing, so we'll try and help them get something together. We'll review all the options in the game. And when I say we're reviewing all the options, we've had quite a few of the players that have realised that they're not going to be able to be a player, but they want to stay in the game and they want to go into coaching, or they might want to go into refereeing, or they might want to go, if they're doing their business studies here, into the business side of football, but stay in the game. I always wanted to be a player. I was never really good enough. I got as far as playing for Chorley, so I'm not going to be on Match of the Day, but I loved the game. And I managed to go into the coaching side of things, and I actually started coaching at Blackburn when I was 15 as a trainee coach, and they put me through a coaching badge. So that's the type of route that we can hopefully start to engage some people, some of the players in, if they're not going to be making a play, to stay in the game. You know, in football, it's the biggest business ever, so you go to a big football club and you name that department, and they'll have somebody doing something, from the store to the stadium manager to the accounts to the business, scouting, coaching, everything, physio side of things. So we try and help them with progressions in football. Recommendations to clubs and scouts, as I've said, and the ongoing support and advice. I know here the college are very big on supporting ex-pupils, the old comedians, am I right? Okay, well, we do a similar thing. We get a lot of our players that have left, and they may have maybe 2 or 3 years, and then they might contact us for advice on a club or coaching or something such as that. So we'll be doing exactly the same ongoing support. I'll put up here a few of our success stories, and these are, I know you want to say, these are in playing. So we've just had Moses, he was with the Ghana under 17 squad. He's been with us since September, I think. So over Christmas he was there. We had a goalkeeper that's signed for Derby County. He was training with Man City. He signed for Derby County, and he was picked up on one of our sessions. Through the UK football trials, Ishmael and Carlos were picked up. Carlos, a goalkeeper, trained for a year with Everton on the development. So we've had some successes there on the pitch. They're not on that one, but off the pitch we've had some successes as well. We had a lad that went back to India. He came, he loved the game, he realised he wasn't going to be playing. He went back home to India and he set up his own football academy, and he's actually referring players to us to come onto the academy. I think we've got 3 that are at universities in Manchester at the moment studying on the physiotherapy route. So we've got successes from both sides, which is great to see. I'm going to show you a video of them in action. I know you've seen them, but hopefully if this starts. It starts. Here we go on that one. There we go. So this is at our centre in Manchester, just some clips of some of the boys out there, some of the past players. you see there with the presentation, I just put on there some of the things that we have done with the boys of Manchester. We had guest coaches from Lock Rovers, we went over to Burnley, we link in with the PFA, and we go and get involved with their coach education program. So the PFA try to put a lot of ex-players and current players through their coaching licences, and they need a body of players to work with, and we're now the ones that in the northwest that they come and ask us for a body of players to work with. It's really good for our players because they get to see all these ex-pros and current players and current club coaches, and it's good for the PFA because they get a group of well-trained, well-disciplined players to play with. And through something such as that, we had John was one of those coaches on that. We've had Colo Torre, we've had Tarek, I think was one of them. So they've come into contact with some really influential people in football. So hopefully that's demonstrated just a snippet of what we can do.